Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's time for another edition of Monster Comics Reviews. And this is for the second week of, what month are we in? September. Yeah, that's what we're in. First up, we're going to talk about Astro City issue number 4. Another fun issue where we get to see a bunch of people with superpowers who aren't superheroes, they aren't supervillains. What happens? Great question. What happens if you have superpowers but you aren't really cut out for the superhero gig, and you're not evil, you're not out, you're not corrupted, you're not out to steal, rob, pillage, and take over the world. Great little issue. Has some great characters, some really interesting characters. I'm really curious to see if we see these people again. It's just fabulous how it's just filling in this world of Astro City and everything around it. I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy this book just because it so quickly creates its own world. Even if you've just started reading with this new Vertigo line of Astro City, just a great, fun book. I'm not a huge fan of Anderson's art. His style isn't my favorite. But the storytelling works really well. He can do pacing really well. The page looks great as far as the layouts and that sort of thing goes. So I'm really enjoying that. Of course, you can never go wrong with Ross covers. But yeah, just another really cool book that helps fill in more of the whole Astro City universe. I don't have a particular thing to talk about with it, other than, like I said, it was just really cool to kind of see some other characters out there, and what else is out in the Astro City universe and city itself. Cool stuff. Next up, we're going to talk about Captain America, and this is issue 11. We're back. He's back in the regular world. He's at the Shield equivalent of hospital. They get him all fixed up. They patch the hole in his chest. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? That part I don't care so much about. We get to see a little bit of the Inquisition as they question Jet, because of course she's the daughter of a pretty significant villain in the Marvel universe. All pretty big deal as far as that goes. That part's The great part of this is you get towards the end of the book. Captain America is telling Jet that he's going to do his best to take her in and help her to get adjusted in this world, and she's commenting on the fact she has this hole where Ian was, that'll pass with time. We need to not look at the past and look at the future and move forward. And she's like, "You kidding me?" Because they're in one of his old warehouse places that he lives in, and it's full of memorabilia from his entire life as Captain America, basically, clear back from World War II, clear to the present. And he's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And they end up gathering up all of his stuff, stacking it on the roof, and burning it all at the end. I thought it was really interesting, a really good story. I think that I'm really interested in Captain America. Surprisingly, really interested in this. I love this new artist, Carlos Pacheco. I think is how you say his name. I love it. I think it's great. I love the way he does. Jet Black. She's very cool looking. She really still just really looks like a Kirby character to me. I think that's really cool for them to do that. So yeah, some really good stuff in here. The part that has Nuke in it, I don't know. We'll see how they use Nuke. I'm not really excited by the character. I remember reading about him way back in Daredevil in the mid to late 80s. He was used, and I remember as a kid thinking he was pretty cool, all hopped up on the different drugs and fighting the secret wars for the government and stuff. But we'll see how he's used here. So far, not a lot to him. So we'll see what ends up being. Apologize for yawning. I am tired, and that's why I'm yawning. But yeah, really enjoying it. I think I'm going to even enjoy it more. I mean, I like the last whole sci-fi bit that got me into the book. I'm really curious to see what comes next, because this just kind of burns his past. Now, what happens now? You know, this whole nuke thing, is he going to get involved in that? How's he going to get involved in that? Really going to be kind of interesting. Next up. Next, I'm going to talk about Fearless Defenders, issue number 9, with this wonderful manga-esque cover, and the peel reveal, which I don't know if you can see, that's probably somewhere on my chest or behind me, of the actual comic book character peeling it back and going, okay, now we're just pandering. I just love the fact that they that they know who their audience is, and they're having fun with that. And this was a fun issue. I think that with this book, Colin Bunn, the writer, has done a very good job of finding a nice balance between having an actual, somewhat serious storyline that moves forward and tells us something, informs us something, and feels like something's going on that's of import, but has a little bit of levity that doesn't take it so far as like Deadpool, where it gets ridiculous and for me anyway, and isn't that much fun, where I just can't take it serious, so I don't really care about it. I continue to have issues with the art. The art is inconsistent through the book. There are some parts of it that are really great. You look at it and go, wow, this is really cool looking. And then there are parts that are just kind of a mess all over the place. This issue in particular is amusing. The guys have all gathered up. I guess Venom is dating or kind of dating Valkyrie. So he's gathered up all the guys because he's supposedly concerned about the fact that, this all-woman group of defenders, it's going to get them all in trouble. They need some help. They need to get help from us guys. What does that imply? All that kind of stuff. Could be kind of funny and kind of interesting to see what that is, what that implies. Because obviously these ladies are fully capable of taking care of themselves, whether there's guys there or not. Yeah. So another enjoyable book. Like I said, my biggest beef with it, besides of course the price point that's popped up, the art needs to be more consistent. I really wish it had a regular artist on the book, because I would like to see a little more consistency. So there's that. What we're going to talk about is King's Watch, issue 1 from Dynamite. This book couples the Phantom, old newspaper comic strip hero, Mandrake, the Magician, and Flash Gordon. Versions of these 3 characters are all going to be in the same book. Something is happening. The world as a whole is kind of having a universal dream of these kind of demon, alien type creatures taking over the world and just decimating everything. And while they're having this universal dream, there's these red energy clouds that are coming from outer space down. And in this first issue, we see some of that. We get an introduction to each of the characters. In the case of Mandrake, he's entered into a room that he's got some demon kind of locked off, some demon spirit locked off in, and that demon spirit is taunting him to some degree as he's trying to decide what he's going to do. You've got Flash Gordon, who's a younger character in this, who is like the son of a very rich man. They've invested some money in a space plane that's been created that Flash is flying for the scientist. They're going to go up and explore the red wash of energy that's waving over the Earth. And in the heart, of course, of Africa, you have the Phantom battling this kind of dinosaur that suddenly showed up out of nowhere and is ravaging elephants and stuff and trying to eat people. And so he's there combating them the best he can by combating a dinosaur by using his 45s and shooting it in the eyeball and stuff like that. A fun issue. I like the art pretty much through it. Mark Lamming art. Very good artist. I enjoyed it. There's some battle scenes with this kind of dinosaur guy and the elephant that has the Phantom involved. To me, felt like it was a few too many panels to get the action across. I thought, and some of that felt a little chunky. But other than that, still an enjoyable book. This is a mini series. I believe it is 6 issues. Unless it just like next issue suddenly gets stinky. I'll get the 6 issues. It's kind of a fun, different kind of thing. Great cover art there on the book. Okay, next up we're going to talk about Sidekick issue 2. I believe this is the last issue of this I'll get. It's I believe, like a 6-issue miniseries. I want to say 6 or 8. I wasn't even going to read this issue. Some of the guys on the Comic Talk Roundtable said, "Oh, you should read it." I thought, yeah, you're right. I bought the book. I have it in my possession because I wasn't impressed with number 1 at all. So I figured, well, I paid the money for it. I might as well read it, right? And for me, this pretty much confirms why I dropped the book. Nothing that really gripping in this issue. The stuff that goes on in it is kind of more there. It felt more like it wasn't a plot device or a character development even so much as it was just kind of a throw something in our face to kind of maybe shock us into, oh my gosh, they kind of throw in our face that that him as the sidekick to the cowl, everybody basically secretly thought he was a butt boy, and that's all. Well, we're supposed to be shocked as readers by that. I don't know. It didn't really add anything for me in any way. Really, nothing in this. Everything in this felt forced or inconsequential or not important, and I just don't care. I don't care about this sidekick. It's not this book. I was excited for it because I like the idea of the sidekick and what does he do when his when the mentor dies, the mainstay dies, and I even like the idea of him kind of having this cascading to the bottom of whatever, and how's he going to bring himself up. But it just feels very it feels very mundane in a lot of ways, or I don't know if mundane is the word I want to use. It just feels very nothing really surprising, and the stuff that's here that's trying to surprise or shock us just feels more like reaching to try and, well, I got to have this in here to make us all go, oh my, they're using that whole Batman Robin, are they gay thing in some way or another, and I don't care. It's not treading ground that I'm interested in treading, I guess. It doesn't feel like it's treading anything new, really, despite it trying to tell a different story. That's how I feel about it. So glad to be done with it. It's not an awful book. It just doesn't provide anything that I'm curious about anyway, and I have no investment, so there's no reason for me to hang on to it. It being marginal when I don't have any investment in characters or whatever. Even though there are other books that I collect, and I've read a lot of marginal issues, I'm already invested in those people, so I'll wait out that kind of stuff a little longer, hoping something changes. Whereas this, I don't think that's going to be the case. And lastly, going to talk about X-Men number 3, Battle of the Atom, which of course I'm not reading the whole Battle of the Atom, so this is like the 3rd part in this whole Battle of the Atom thing. So I have really very little idea what's going on. I mean, I can get a basic idea of what happens in this book. Not much story is told beyond that. Certainly nothing that has directly to do with this Brian Wood X-Men book in particular. So I've got one more issue that's going to tie into the Battle of the Atom thing. I'll read it and hope that we're going to get an interesting storyline coming out the other side when they're not tied into a event book. Because I'm not getting this. I'm not really that interested in it. And this issue didn't make me go, oh my gosh, I need to go back and get the other two parts, that were before this and get the rest of it going forward. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion beyond that one way or the other, because it all has to do with pretty much has to completely do with the Battle of the Atom stuff, and like I just said, I'm not getting that, so don't really have much of an opinion beyond that on it. And that's my book for this week. Books are supposedly coming on time, so same time next week. Yeah, see ya.